Hello and welcome to the show. Now, in the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about organizations and change in society for the better. So we've been picking up on those stories as they happen, and you guys know Eugene that pops around at the office most of the time, and we're going to talk about some of the work that he's doing. But that story today is found in the Bishop Lavis High School. So Julian Newman is here, and she's one of the teachers at the school, and she's going to tell us more about some of the social dilemmas that they experience in the school and how this organization that you're going to hear about soon, that Eugene's involved with, is helping to solve that problem. Julian, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, we're going to go into Eugene and all the work that he's doing, because we featured Eugene and some of the work that he and his team and organization has done in society over the last couple of months, which is great. But for us to understand that and understand the work that they do, we're looking at why the work is needed. Now, you're a teacher in one of the schools in Cape Town, and I know that the area that you teach in, being Bishop Lavis, is a challenging area. It's one that has many social ills, levels of poverty. So with that, we find lots of drug abuse, crime, and I think if you don't mind, we're going to talk about that very frankly so that we understand the impact of the problem. So let's understand your community first and the school and the challenges you have, and how we're going to solve that. What are some of those challenges?
A lot of the challenges that we do have at our school is the fact that our learners do not have freedom to go to a public library, something as a public library. So because of gangsterism and victimization and drug abuse, and so this, when Ikamva came aboard with Claremont High, what we did was they explained what their purpose was when they came to our school. And so I felt that this was needed. And Ikamva explained to us that they come in faith. We don't worry about the money or whatever. They're going to help us rebuild our our library, because our school at that moment, the library wasn't up and running. So we thought, because there's a need in our community for our learners to read and to write, we thought we're going to go with this project because we need to get our learners to go to a library and to expose them to something different than just the norm of gangsterism and violence in our community. So literacy and numeracy is a big problem in our community, because our learners, as I said before, they do not have this freedom of going and doing their assignments. And so we needed to create a space for our learners, and that is exactly what we did and what we are busy with now currently.
So let's take one step back and just look at the painting on the canvas at the moment, and that is that you're a teacher, so you come face to face with the issues and the realities of what happens on a daily basis within that school environment. We can only stand on the side and understand and try to understand what is actually happening, but you see it daily. How do you see that children's education is impacted by the social and environmental surroundings? Do you actually pick that up as a teacher? And how do you see that impeding their education?
We definitely pick it up, because if you look out at the way our learners do their tasks and the marks, it's a reflection of and their behavior in class. So you have to be a parent, you have to be an advisor, you have to be a teacher. Sometimes you have to be the police, because those learners, they do not have the necessary skills or the necessary awareness of what, they don't think that that is wrong, because to them that is a normal. And
so is a precipitative result of this bad results, and with bad results, people are not going on perhaps onto colleges or universities and becoming something. And so we have a vicious cycle, starting at home, in the environment, back into the home again over years. Is that what you see happening?
Yes, that is what we see happening in our communities. Because, but then it's such a shame, because then we have talented learners that are able to lead, but do not get the opportunity to do so. And that is why Ikamva and our school, the teachers, we're trying to give our learners that, we're trying to empower them to, through this project, to become someone in life, to reach for more than just the average to go for the gold and not just for the bronze or the silver. We want them to become responsible, goal-orientated adults. That is why this project is so important for us, because we want our learners to lead and lead by example and not set the wrong example for our learners. So, because like we had like our grade 11s and some of our grade 12s involved in this project, and I can tell you those learners, they were working very hard to help with the project. Some of the learners, due to the problems that we face in our society, like gangsterism and financial problems, they could not even make it sometimes to the library or to come help with the library, and then they had to sit the one out, and the one weekend they couldn't come, or the one day they couldn't come because they're too scared to come on their own. So we're trying to give our learners that freedom to show them that there is a place where you can go and you don't have anything. You can just go and do whatever you want and not be restricted by your community or what's happening in your community and your surroundings. Exactly.
So we look at Eugene and Ikamva as an organization, and we worked along together some time ago, doing 1 or 2 projects, having a look at that, covering those stories and the successes of those stories. What we see is they come into an environment, they propose a project, and you mentioned something very interesting early on, and that is that it was told to you that it's not about the money.
Yes.
So what was your thoughts when they knocked on the door and said they want to do this?
Normally
it doesn't happen. Look, it happens perhaps on Christmas Day, but it doesn't really happen.
Normally what, we get a lot of people, because we were struggling to get the library up and running. And then Claremont came, and it was like a school project for them. And they came with Buco, and then Ikamva came aboard. So then we saw, now here's really a light at the end of the tunnel. And so what they proposed was that we use the learners to drive this project. And the first thing they told us, it's not about the money. Even if there's no money, we're going.
And sometimes you feel skeptical about that, because nowhere in South Africa does someone say that it's going to be free. The word free doesn't exist.
Exactly, because we felt like, yeah, they're going to tell us, no, they don't need money, and we don't need money, and then in the end they're going to expect. So we were a little bit skeptical at first, but eventually they proved us wrong. Really, they did, because they never expected any financial support from the school. They just wanted to help us, to help our learners and to help our community, and they are really driven by faith.
So tell us a bit about the project itself. You talk about literacy and literacy competency, for example, and we find that to be a big problem in society today, so that if people are literate firstly, then we look at the competency thereof, and some people are not taking that to another level because of infringement of environmental factors, for example, crime, poverty, and associated factors, for example. But so here comes an organization, and they're going to put up a structure. Tell us about the structure itself, because that structure might be a physical manifestation of the structures that you require to build a more healthier society. So there might be a parallel in all of that. Tell us about the structure itself.
Of Ikamva?
Of the library itself that's going up there.
That we are currently busy with the library, and they've painted it now, and they did the cupboards and everything. But now, obviously, we going by faith, so we still need some people to help us. And the structure we have a plan is we want to empower the learners, and then the grade 11s, they must drive the project, and the next grade 11.
Have they come to the table for that?
They have. We're going to empower the learners that's working, because it's the first time that we're doing this project. So we're going to use those learners who have a little bit of experience and who gained a lot of skills from Ikamva, because they exposed our learners to computer literacy, how to do cupboards, how to fix the computer. They took them to the offices to show them how they go about doing this.
Only about the project itself. It's also acquiring a bit of skills outside of that.
Exactly. They are skill-based, because they want our learners to be able to become more than just like a gangster or just the normal drug pusher or whatever. So they're trying to teach our learners to use these skills, not just show them how to do it, but to use this skill, because they're going to have like follow-ups. You know, they're going to come check if everything is going okay and see if we are following the plan that we set out in the beginning, because we want our learners to be able to empower other learners. It would be like those days we talked about each one teach one.
Correct.
So that is what we're trying to create through this project. We want our learners to teach one another the moral values of goal setting, of love, unselfishness, to care for your neighbor. And
so it's about changing the moral fabric and ethics of a society in all. That's what the plan is, and that starts in your school. If it's not, and I say this with all due respect because there are some great parents out there, but if it's not happening at home, the next parent is you as a teacher at the school. And so you inherit some of these problems and to solve those problems. So going forward, we see all of that happening, and we see the development of this happening, but a question that's popping in my mind all the time is the learners. Sometimes you can hand things to learners on a golden platter, and parents sometimes do that, and that's rejected for one reason or the other. What is the level of participation in this project from your learners? Are they accepting the project? Are they getting involved? Or are they pushing it aside?
The parents that we do have are the parents of the learners that's involved with the project. Some of the parents, they're not totally aboard with this whole project that we...
In which way?
Because we try to get the parents to come with the learners to the school.
So this could be a combined effort,
Exactly.
a community effort. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think the parents were also a bit skeptical, because in our community, it's a matter of trust. And so who do you trust your child with? Is my child really at the library when he or she says...
There's just too many things happening.
Exactly. So there is this trust issue, and it's amongst the parents and the learners and the teachers. So we need to build the trust between the whole school community and the rest of the community in order for us to move forward. So we are trying to teach our learners to be a little bit more open, not to be scared to say, to give their opinion. We want opinionated learners so that they can challenge what the adults are saying, not in a disrespectful way, but this is why we want so that is why we're so glad for this project, because we want our learners to be taught all these moral values and their parents to be involved and to show them that even if your child is not agreeing with you on a certain matter, that doesn't mean the child is disrespectful. It just means that the child has also an opinion. And in many of our societies, and especially in our society, if the learner don't agree with what the parents are saying, then the way they handle the situation can be very volatile. So sometimes then the learners come to school, then they feel and they don't feel happy, and we pick up on this because you can see the learner's emotional state is affected. So obviously for the rest of the day, the child will not be able to concentrate in class or to do the work that the teachers are expecting from the learners that they're supposed to be doing. And then we first have to take the learner out, because you never approach a learner in the class where you tell the learner and you talk about this personal things in front of the rest of the class, because you don't want to put the learner on the spot, because a lot of our learners, they get this at home. So by respecting the learner, we take them out of the classroom and we discuss the matter, and that is where it comes in that teachers are not just teachers.
Correct, yes. Yes, you obviously inherit the rest of the parenting role, because you spend most of the day with the child. Julian, we're going to go for a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to you about what Julian's thoughts are on Eugene and his team specifically. Welcome back to the show. So before we went on the break, Jolene was talking to us about the learners at the school, the challenges that they're going through, and how Ikamba and Eugene and his team is going out in the community and making a difference to society, and how we could all perhaps do that and get involved with that. We also spoke about the aspect of how teachers sometimes play a secondary role as parents, and that could be challenges too. Jolene, welcome back. Now, so you look at Eugene and his team, and I want to talk about this now. And that's sometimes when people come to you and you see that they have sincerity in what they're doing, and they themselves might have challenges in what they're doing, but they do that. When you think about Eugene and his team now, what comes to your mind?
Admiration for what they are trying to achieve in our community and what they are trying to give to our learners. Because through this project, Ikamba is really giving our learners an opportunity to go so much further than they've ever thought they could, and to reach so much higher. Because it's like they're teaching them, it doesn't matter what the obstacles are, you can always do the necessary to get to your goal. And that is one of the and they're teaching them tenacity, to not give up, because even their company, they had such a lot of challenges, and even though they had it, they never spoke about the challenges. They always just gave the upside. They never told us, listen, we're struggling, we can't get this or we can't get that. And in that, they are teaching our learners to not give up, to always try the next. If the first one isn't working, try the next one. So, but we would like more people to get involved with the Ikamba project, because they are really, really showing the learners and the community what they are really capable of. But
so many of us are busy in our lives, and we tend to be involved with many things. And that happens with everybody. I don't think that there's a person out on the planet that doesn't believe that they're exceptionally busy and have the next few days planned out what they're going to do. So a challenge in that is that we don't tend to offer enough time into these kinds of projects, because we're busy living in the bubble that we're normally going to burst in the end of the day.
But can I just add to this, because Ikamba, they work right through the exam time, they work right through the holidays, so time was never an issue. You know, they because normally people say, no, I can't come and we can't do this and we can't. They never ever had that problem. They made the effort, they made the time, and they put in everything. And you can see, if you go to our school now, you go to our library, you can see what they have done and what they are still trying to do. And we want our learners to be exposed to this positive energy, because they are really setting the tone for our learners.
Correct, yes. So effectively we find this aspect of, as normal citizens, we don't have the time. And then there's a group of people that dedicate their time, like you're saying, like Eugene Ikamba and the rest of his team, because I know he's surrounded by a good team of expertise that are very dedicated and have their life bent on doing what they're doing to make that change in society. So we have all of that happening, and so therefore I think we need to call on viewers at this time to say that if you cannot be there yourself and you cannot get involved yourself because you don't have the time, you've got your family and you've got all kinds of things that you're doing, then the best next option is to support people like Eugene and his team to do what they're doing. So hand it over to them. So that's in the form of some finances. Whether you are in the building trade, you can perhaps get involved with that. If you are a doctor, lawyer, or anything like that, you can actually offer those services to the organization. And I think that's important. We don't always have the time, but we do have resources. And every person walking on the planet has some level of resources that they can contribute. Exactly. So we want to call on people to do that now. But I perhaps want to use the last part of the show to get a special message from you and the learners at the school at Bishop Lavis in Cape Town, to tell Eugene and his team what you think about them. And you can say that as you want to.
Okay. I feel that we are so grateful for what they came and did for our school. And we hope that we're going to have a long road with them, and they're going to walk with us, because we're still taking our baby steps. So we want them to be there when we evolved into a more stable environment for our learners. And that is why we're so grateful, because they instilled in our learners a sense of pride and a sense of dignity and a sense of morality, because Eugene is a person, he speaks to the learners, and they talk about lots of things, but then when they walk away, they will think, okay, this man is really there for me. So that is why we are so glad that they came and they did this project with our learners, and we will forever be grateful for them for coming out and helping us with this project.
So I want you to direct a message to Eugene and his team.
I would say thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
This project has so many opportunities for us as the learners, and we're really thankful for them for advising us in so many areas, and we have learned so many life lessons in this project, and we really would like to thank them so very much. Thank you.
Education is something that can open many doors, and when we empower one youth, he can empower his friend or his cousin or his brother. We can change the community. And at the end of the day, if we have a healthy community and we have healthy people, we have a healthy South Africa. But we are calling on sponsors, friends, people that are retired, educators, tutors. We need to educate our community, and that is why we need to empower the youth that will be leading South Africa tomorrow.
Thank you, Julian. Thank you for coming onto the program. Julian Newman, she's from the Bishop Lavis High School in Cape Town, and we're talking about Dikamba and Eugene and his team and the work that they do in society to make the world a better place. They say that the only thing in life that's permanent is change, and so therefore change is the effective driving force that can effect positivity, growth and development in our society, and it's something that we should be all backing. Until next time, goodbye.